you dread discipline or do you want more of it? God's form of self control is different because it's not about forcing yourself to do something that you really don't want to do. It's about living in alignment with the path that he has set out for you. The longest time I would cringe at the word discipline because I would instantly think of lack. All of the things that I needed to take away, stop doing, or sacrifice. Or I would think of it as all of the things that I had to add to my already busy life and plate. But when I started looking at it from a different perspective and from a way more of what it says biblically about discipline, I began to understand and master self control, that it's not about anything that I'm lacking or anything that I have to do that I don't want to do, but that discipline is more about staying aligned in the path that you're meant to walk. But I learned that I can master self control and discipline more easily by answering these three questions. And the first question is, why am I doing this? The second question is, am I capable to do this? And the third question is, now how do I actually do this? Proverbs chapter 5, verse 21 through 23 states that, for your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all of your paths. Jump down to 23, it says, for lack of discipline, they will die, led astray by their own great folly. Now, in context, these verses are actually talking about marriage and avoiding any temptation that leads you off course. But the principle of this actually applies beyond marriage. And that is that lack of discipline leads people off of their intended course. And there are many times where I have been lost and stuck out in the wilderness and not wanting to be where I was at. So I'll say it again. Discipline is about staying aligned with the path that you're meant to walk. And it's almost always about protection and not lack of. So many godly desires are actually placed on your heart for a real reason. And those desires require boundaries because we were all born with the inheritance of imperfection. So in order to be more disciplined on your path, what you're called to do, whether that is starting a business, creating content, teaching, working out, losing weight, studying the Bible for 30 minutes a day, whatever it is. So the first step that you need to do in order to be more disciplined for what it is that you are called to do is that you need to build a solid foundation for the goal at hand. Now, if you don't know exactly what your goal is, I have a whole nother video about discipline and how to find clarity around your goals and how to actually write down your goals. So go ahead and check that out if you're not 100% sure. But if you know what it is that you want to accomplish, then stay right here. Because the first thing that we need to do is anchor in our why. Basically meaning, why are we even doing this? Discipline sticks when it is connected to something that is bigger than ourselves. We all know that motivation fluctuates so much. You start, you stop, you start again, you stop again. You're motivated to create content one day. The next day, you're like, I have creative blocks. You're motivated to start working out on January 1st. After a week, you're like, oh, this is so hard. I don't want to do this anymore. We have all been there. So the reason why you keep starting and stopping is because you're relying solely on motivation. And we all know that that doesn't work. Real discipline sticks when it's connected to something that actually matters. So now you might be wondering, okay, how do I actually anchor in this foundation of why I want to do this? Well, we will measure this in three different ways. The first way is that you need to define an internal reward. This is who you are going to become. Discipline works whenever it reinforces self-respect. I had a student who joined my program and she mentioned to me that she was super nervous to get started, to be seen. She was a little bit nervous about judgment and really concerned about how to make her content different from everyone else's and what makes her so special. Once we got started, after posting a few videos, everything shifted. She told me that she started gaining confidence in every single video. She was no longer worried about judgment and that it was actually fun to do. She wasn't just building content, she was actually becoming a new version of herself, whether she realized it or not. And that is the power of an intrinsic reward. When discipline begins to build self-respect for yourself, then you stop quitting. So write down, what is your internal reward for doing this? We're not going to stop there because there's a lot of benefits in being disciplined for what you want. The second thing is, what is your external reward? And by doing this, what does it actually produce? As we all know, discipline also produces real tangible things. This could be anything from income, growth, opportunities, success, stability, time freedom. Sometimes it's external validation. These rewards do matter and they are valid, so don't get me wrong. But it's whenever you are only relying on the external things is when you will find yourself getting burnt out. Or if you're waiting for these things to happen and they haven't happened quickly enough, like you're creating content and you're not seeing any views, or you're reading the Bible and you're not understanding the meaning behind it and studying it, or you're working out and you're not understanding why you're not losing weight, these rewards really matter and they are valid, but it can't be the only reason why you're doing this. And sometimes it does take time to see real results and see those rewards. So discipline has to exist before these results show up. So write down real quick, what is your external reason? What is this going to produce? And the third thing, and the most important, is, what is your calling in this? Why this matters beyond just you. In Proverbs chapter 19, verse 21, it says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." So when discipline is actually tied to a calling, something bigger, something more than just ourselves, then it becomes obedience and not pressure. It becomes service and not hustle. It becomes alignment and not force. You're no longer just pushing yourself because of guilt, but you're actually showing up because you were entrusted to do this. You're showing up because you know what you've been entrusted with. So the question you're going to ask here is, by building this discipline, who is it that I'm serving with this? So now that you have a better foundation on 3 different levels of why you are pursuing this calling, whether it be something small or something big, then the next question you're going to ask yourself is, am I capable to do this? If you think that you already are capable to it, then maybe the question you're asking is, am I capable to actually sticking through this? And the first thing that you need to realize in order for this discipline to stick in and actually stick with it is that discipline isn't just something you do, it's something you become. So you need to understand that your mind shapes your actions shape your behaviors shape your habits and your identity. Really becoming disciplined and sticking with it starts with clarity around your identity. And as we just said, your identity isn't just a label, it starts with your mind and your thoughts. In 2 Romans chapter 2, verse 12, it says, "Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." So if you want self-control over your actions, over your behaviors, then you first need self-control over your thoughts. Now, how many of you had these thoughts whenever you were trying something new, trying to change something, trying to start something, trying to stop something? Is, I am trying to work out, but every time I work out, something comes up and I'm too busy and then I feel guilty. Or I want to create content, but the last video I posted only got 100 views, which means that I'm just not good enough. I suck. And what is the point to even keep doing this? So what you have to understand is that there are so many distractions and temptations to lead you off path. You're trying to eat better and follow this workout plan, but the cake looks so tempting. You want to be able to get up early and work out, but the snooze button is just so easy to press. You want to be able to sit down and do your Bible study, but you just keep forgetting or something else comes up and it feels more important. You want to create content, but there's always an excuse why you can't start. So what I have learned over the years is that the trick isn't having a better to-do list. It's about belief and identity. But you need to remember to be transparent transformed by the renewing of your mind. You are going to be in a constant battle with your mind, tempting to stray away, especially when you haven't seen the results yet. This is where self control comes in and is so vital because really a lot of your thoughts and the temptation of your thoughts are one, not true, and two, not yours. So in Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5, it says, "He take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." So what does that mean? You have to ask yourself, you have to become aware. Every single thought of temptations or the ability to just stray away, you have to ask yourself, is this thought helping me be called to do what I'm meant to do? Or is it keeping me stuck and moving me off my path? Once you can start discerning your thoughts, then self-control will become so much easier. Now, my goal for the year was to read the entire Bible front to back, understand every single verse, passage, meaning in it, and dedicate my whole year to doing that. Now, the more that I learn from Christ, the more my identity shifts and my self-control grows stronger. I didn't say easier, but stronger because I know that I cannot do any of this alone. All right, so once we have laid our solid foundation by determining our internal reward, our external reward, and our bigger calling, then we built capability by capturing every single thought, temptation, built self control around it, and are leading into a new identity. And the last question we need to ask is, how do we actually do this? Most people will just jump to the tips and tricks first, but if you don't have a solid foundation on your belt, then it is so much harder to stick to these tips and tricks. Build a system around your disciplined area. So, for me, for example, my goal is to read the entire Bible. My end goal is to go through every single chapter, read the entire Bible, and that seems like a lot of pressure, a lot to accomplish. And some people might have a goal to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and it can seem like, gosh, I am so far off from where I'm at now to where I want to be that it seems almost impossible to stay disciplined for that long. So, this is where most people get caught up because they're only focused on the end results. If we can shift our focus to the actual system it takes to get there, opposed to the end goal, then you will be able to see the results on a different level. So, the tip that I'm going to give you is going to be the oldest trick in the book. And it really is this simple. And the trick is consistency. And I know everybody's trying to figure out a new way to say it and a new way to do it, but the key really is consistency, and it's really that simple. But a lot of time we don't measure our consistency. We are only measuring the results, which, what is that key phrase? Consistency is key. So why don't we start by measuring that? A lot of times also we think that we have to have it perfect. For example, if you are trying to lose 10 pounds and you are supposed to follow this perfect diet every single day for 30 days and you fall off track one or two times, a lot of times you beat yourself up over it. I know that I do, and I did. And every time I would have an off day or I ate not according to my diet or wasn't able to work out that day, I'm just like, screw it. Okay, we're just throwing the towel. I've already messed up. Now let me eat 25 more cookies because I'm not perfect and this is a bunch of BS and I'm so irritated, right? You get all worked up about not being perfect. Yet Proverbs verse 12, chapter 1, and I am doing the NIV version, says, "Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid." And what does that basically mean? It means that discipline is about wisdom, maturity, and growth, not about perfection. In fact, it says that whoever hates correction is stupid, meaning that we are imperfect and we are going to mess up and we are going to be corrected and put back on path. And if we don't listen to the corrections, if we don't get on path again, we're dumb for not doing that. So when they say consistency over perfection, that really is the goal. So how do we measure consistency if there is something that we really want to do? So say, for example, I am wanting to read the entire Bible. Instead of trying to read the whole Bible, read a bunch of chapters, and go through it all on my own, I'm going to measure how consistent I am with it. So I decided to download this app and follow this plan called the Bible Recap. And in the Bible Recap, every single day, you have a short passage that you are to read, and then the host kind of explains what that chapter is all about. And the key is to be consistent every single day. And once you are consistent every single day, you'll eventually get through the entire Bible. I also first heard about this concept through one of my trainers, and we would have a specific goal to lose, I don't know if it was a body percentage weight or something. And the key was to be consistent. So instead of measuring if I had lost the 10 pounds, or maybe my goals were a little bit more vague, where I was like, I just want to like be more fit and not necessarily lose X amount of weight, then we would track consistency. Because a lot of times I would go back and be like, I didn't lose any weight. I didn't lose any weight. I didn't lose any weight. It was kind of hard to figure out. Was it that I was like not eating my diet on the weekends, or I thought I was, but I really wasn't following the plan that well? Or was it that I was actually missing more workouts than I thought I was? Or was it that something actually needs to pivot? What you would do is you would get a board or a calendar or something, and you would write down the entire month. And every single day of the month, okay, you get the gist of this. So every single day of the month, you would write out your priority. So for me, it would be like right now, I want to read these chapters, whatever. If it was a workout plan, then you would put, I need to work out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This actually needs to go like this. Okay. Let's just pretend like this is a calendar. And every single day, you were going to write out your priority. And if your priority was to work out every single day, or at least let's just say, for example, 6 days a week, then you would basically track whether or not you worked out. So if you worked out on Sunday, you would put a check. If you did not work out, you would put an X. And then the whole purpose would be at the very end of the month, you would determine how many checks you have and how many X's you have, meaning how consistent were you. The goal is to be about 80 to 90% consistent. So then you would measure and say, what is your consistency rate? I was about 80% consistent, and chances are that you are seeing progress. Now, if you go and measure it and you're like, man, I was working out, but I actually only worked out like 40% of the time, then that will give you more data about why it's working and why it isn't working. And maybe you should ramp up your discipline in order to meet these goals. So this is really one of the most effective way that I have ever been able to accomplish a goal was by tracking consistency over actual outcomes. Now, the outcomes eventually do come. Sometimes they don't come as fast as I want them to, but at least this way I know that I am building self-respect by being consistent with the things that I need to do in order to reach that goal. I apply the same concept in the way that I manage my home. As long as I am at least doing the dishes and doing some laundry every single day, I won't feel so behind. As long as I am working out at least 3 times a week, lifting weights, then I will feel like I've met my goal. So once you build up this consistency, then your consistency and your disciplines then turn into habits. And then your habits eventually lead to your identity. But if you just start with one of these 3 questions and don't have them all 3 mapped out, like if you're just trying to be consistent, but you don't have a full foundation or reason why it's worth being consistent, then you may fall off the bandwagon. If you don't take captive of every thought when those temptations come in and day out, then it's going to lead you astray. It's going to leave you lost on your path. And the key is that discipline isn't here to harm you or take away from you. It's here to protect you and keep you on your path. So just remember that discipline isn't something that you do, it's something that you become. Anchoring your why, strengthen your capability, and build your habits consistently. That's how you protect your purpose, your path, and the life that you're called to live. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I have a new course that I am just launching. It is called Called to Create. It is for anyone who is called to create content but doesn't know where to start or how to post a video. This will help you learn how to create and post your very first video in 5 days so that you can answer your calling to create. So check it out in the description box below. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and I will see you in my next video.